The afternoon was entirely taken up with the evidence from one of Ruth's alleged victims who had, in her own words, escaped death, yeah, but not the fate that's worse than it. According to her testimony, she'd been lured into the Webbs' household as a babysitter. Things in her own home had not been happy. She had an abusive stepfather and indifferent mother, had several times run away and eventually been put in the care of the local authority and placed in a home for adolescents, near where the Webbs lived. A friend, another girl from the home, had introduced her to the Webbs' household, and she, Shireen, had been much taken with its freewheeling style, the hippie, boho atmosphere where the free sex and soft drugs were taken for granted. She had viewed Ruth, she claimed, as a sort of older sister, someone who would be sympathetic to girl troubles, be they with period pains or boyfriends. Yes, that was right, a shoulder to cry on. Little had prepared her for the assault she claimed to have suffered at the hands of this older sister and her husband. Shireen, who had broke down several times in the witness box and was even granted a brief time out when she was overcome with sobs, was alone one night babysitting for the Webbs, who'd gone, she thought, to the pub. Eddie Webb had come home early and alone. He said Ruth was chatting up some bloke in the bar and he'd had enough and left her there. Shireen felt sorry for him. Ruth was a known flirt, and made him a cup of tea. Tea was not what Eddie wanted, though. And when she re-entered with the cup, he'd pulled her onto his knee. She'd remonstrated with him, at first gently. She thought he was just fooling around and didn't want to offend someone she thought of as a benefactor, finished Anthony Farrow for her. Yeah, she nodded. Benefactor. But you didn't fancy him, pressed Farrow. No, not at all. Anyway, he was married, and to a woman who I thought was my friend. Quite, said Farrow, viewing the jury to make sure they'd taken in this point on her vulnerability. So, what happened next? Well, he put his hand up my skirt and he started, you know. No, I'm afraid I don't know. Farrow shook his head. And neither did the jury. I'm very sorry, but you will have to tell us. What exactly was he doing? Feeling around, getting his hand inside my pants. Anthony Farrow pursed his lips. And what happened next? Shireen looked very uncomfortable. She brushed her hand over her face and began. He asked me to have sex with him and I said no, and I pushed his hand away. He was very insistent and somehow got me on the floor. Well, he tipped me up and I lost my balance and I fell off his knee and then he was like on top of me and pulling up my skirt and I struggled. I didn't want to shout because of the kids and I don't know, I still sort of thought that he was fooling. But he wasn't, said Farrow, narrowing his eyes. No. So he tore my pants, tore them down. He pinned my arms behind my head with one hand, and he was very strong, and then he... Yes? He got inside me. He raped you. There was a silence. Is that correct, Miss Johnson? He raped you? I suppose so. And what did you do? I screamed. I tried to scream, but he put a hand over my mouth. He had one hand over your mouth and the other holding your arms. Is that correct? That's correct. And you were completely immobilised by him. Well, he was very strong, I mean, like I said, and heavy. He worked on the roads with electric drills and that. All right. What happened then? He was very excited, moaning and that, and I was still looking for escape when I saw the door open. The door to the living room. Yeah, that's right. And Ruth, Mrs. Webb, she came in. You're saying he was raping you and his wife walked in on this scene? Yeah, that's what happened. Very well. What did she do? She joined in.